Hello, I'm Jeffrey Darty, the Christian Whistleblower. Hello to my Twitter audience. We are recording live on Twitter, live on Facebook, serving a YouTube timeout. So I'm encouraging you to go over to my YouTube channel, which is Jeff Darty Show, and subscribe there. 115,000 followers here, 11,000 there. I'd like to see some of you go over there. And today I'm here to talk about the government shutdown. We're in day 2 of the U.S. federal government shutdown. And I have one question. How do we make this thing permanent? See, this morning I got up and I went to the beach, just like I do when the federal government is not shut down. And then after I went to the beach, I went and had breakfast. Well, actually, I went and bought some stuff and came home and had breakfast because I'm not a big fan of eating out. But I did that just like I do every other day when the government is in business. And then I came home, I did some reading, I took a nap, just like I did when the federal government was in business. My point is that the federal government has been out of business now for about 2 days, and the world has not ground to a halt. The sky has not fallen. And I would suggest to you that we are being subjected to a psyop, we are being subjected to a conditioning exercise, and that we don't need the freaking federal government. We have become so fat, so sassy, so lazy, so stupid, so conditioned, so locked to the teat of federal largesse that we don't even realize that they're playing a con game on us. You know what the government's doing right now? This is called the takeaway. And in sales, when you do the takeaway, or in relationships, if you're smart and you do the takeaway, you take it away. You take away the product, you take away your presence, and let the person miss you or let the person want it. But the first rule of the takeaway is you got to make sure when you take it away that someone's going to want it back. Because if you don't, the takeaway is ineffective. So we're all worried that the government shut down. We're all worried that the government's not functioning. I'm happy. How can we make the government shutdown permanent? Let me show you something. Twitter followers, you won't be able to see this, but you can if you go over to the YouTube channel, Jeff Darty Show, and watch the replay, which I'll have up within a few minutes after this broadcast. And if you're on YouTube, I'm going to show you this. And unfortunately, this is something that a lot of you have never seen and never heard of. Do you know that there are enumerated powers of the federal government? The powers of the government are specifically described in this little thing called the Constitution. Now, many of you don't know what the Constitution is. Many of you don't understand what the Constitution is. Many of you have never read the Constitution. That's why you're freaking out, because the government is shut down. OMG. The powers of the federal government are specified or specifically described in the Constitution. They are delegated or express powers, but most often they're known as enumerated powers, and they describe how a central government with 3 distinct branches is to operate. So I'm going to tell you what the enumerated powers of the federal government are, as stated within the U.S. Constitution. Delegated powers are specifically granted to the federal government in Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution. Sorry, I'm still fighting through this cold. I don't know if it's a cold, but it's a throat issue. Understand what this says. Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution specifically grants powers to the federal government. And the federal government is to have no other powers than those which are specifically granted it in Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution. Now, of course, the federal government must have a lot of power, so this is probably going to be about a 4 or 5 hour broadcast as I list to you now all the specific delegated enumerated powers of the federal government according to Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution. Get ready, here they come. Number 1, the power to coin money. And that one, they've given up. They've brought in a Federal Reserve private corporation. Oh, what? You didn't know that? On Twitter, you didn't know that it's a federal It's not, the Federal Reserve is not federal. You didn't know? What? You didn't know that the government doesn't control the money? It's a private bank that makes money, lends it to us at interest, that we're being robbed. You didn't know that? And you didn't know the federal government's supposed to coin money? Their first job, specifically enumerated by Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, they're not even doing it. All right. The power to coin money, which they're not doing. The power to regulate commerce. The power to declare war. The power to raise and maintain armed forces, and to establish a post office. The end. The end. The powers which are specifically granted to the federal government in Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution. 1, the power to coin and raise money. 2, Twitter, the power to regulate commerce. 3, Facebook, the power to declare war. 4, the power to raise and maintain an armed force. And 5, the power to establish a post office. The federal government has 5 duties: make money, which they won't even do themselves, regulate commerce, declare war, raise and maintain armed forces, establish a post office. Anything else is not their job. Wave bye-bye. That's why the government shutdown should be made permanent. Because if they're doing anything other than coining money, regulating commerce, trying to calm down, declaring war, raising and maintained armed forces, or delivering the mail, they're doing something they're not supposed to be doing. And until you're doing all 5 of the things you are supposed to be doing, you shouldn't be doing one damn other thing. Those are the 5 things that the federal government's supposed to be doing. They're only doing 4 of them. But they're doing oh so much more. Why? Because we are stupid, we are lazy, we are fat, we are sassy, and we are not willing to stand up and say, enough is enough. We want a constitutional government. My only question with the U.S. federal government shutdown is, how do we make it permanent? How do we make it permanent? How do we make sure the federal government isn't doing one damn thing more than they're supposed to be doing? There's a reason why George Washington said the government that governs best is the one that governs least. He knew they were coming after us. And guess what? They've got us. But what about all the people that work for the federal government? Get a real job. Get a real job. I'm sorry. How do we make the government shutdown permanent? One more time. Here are the jobs given by Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution to the federal government. Coin money, regulate commerce, declare war, raise and maintain armed forces, establish a post office. That's it. That's it. We should insist that they stop doing everything else. Especially when number 1, coin money, they won't do. And number 5, establish a post office. They screw it up about as poorly as possible. But anyway, those are the jobs of your federal government. I'm so glad that the government is shut down. How do we make it permanent? Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. I'm teaching you, helping you, encouraging you to be your own guru, guide your own spirit, master your own ascension. I'm here to teach you, help you, encourage you to ask questions and question answers. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to stay fearless, and I want you, more than anything else, to wake up, wakey, eggs and bakey, smell the coffee, stay fearless, and unindoctrinate yourself.